The first low-level primordial life army, heavily damaged by Luo Feng, fled with all its might, while the other three armies fled while relentlessly massacring. Everywhere they passed, vast areas of cave mansions turned into rubble, and the cultivators perished without the strength to resist. When Senior Yuan and the others created the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm, they made the overall power of the low-level primordial life far superior to the cultivators to exert enough pressure on them, forcing the cultivators to only hide within the cities. When the city falls, slaughter is what awaits. Damn it! Luo Feng's eyes were cold as he walked in the gaps between heaven and earth, already nearing the Second Army. The Second Army comprised over 800 Divine Emperor Perfection level beings and 12,000 late-stage Divine Emperors, making it the strongest of the four armies that invaded the city. Even under the combined assault of Luo Feng's formation and the array of elders, this army sustained relatively minor losses. Disperse. Luo Feng's heart stirred, causing the dark green fog within Yulan City to become illusory and transparent, no longer obscuring vision and allowing the four armies to observe each other from a distance. The formation fog has thinned. We can see the other three armies. At this moment, they realized that, apart from the first army, which was fleeing frantically, the flight speed of the other three armies had noticeably slowed down as they continued to massacre the cultivators distractedly. Surrounding the strongest Second Army, the illusory dark green fog enveloped and shrouded it, with the array of elders besieging it. Suddenly, a massive furry claw, without warning, extended from the void. The layers of protection covering the vast army had limited defense capabilities at specific points. This giant claw instantly pierced through the layers of protective energy at the attacked points, sweeping through numerous low-level primordial life forms. These low-level primordial life forms, whether at the late-stage Divine Emperor or Divine Emperor Perfection levels, were torn apart and their life cores shattered upon contact with the claw. The shattered bodies were also naturally collected within the space contained in the claw. Repel it. The entire army was in a panic, hurriedly combining their efforts to repel the furry claw. 17 leader-level beings and 213 core clan members were killed. The Second Army immediately assessed their losses, feeling alarmed. It was known that the curse killings of the Heaven and Earth Array could not threaten the leader-level beings and were mainly targeted at the core clan members, taking 1 or 2 lives each time. Although the deaths added pressure on the army, it was not panicking yet. But now, even the leaders were dying in batches. The leader-level beings were the ruling core of the entire army, and losing so many at once brought panic to everyone. It's Luo Feng's secret treasure claw. We can't determine Luo Feng's exact position. This secret treasure claw possesses terrifying power and mysterious techniques, which we cannot capture. Furthermore, it's indestructible. We can only barely repel it. Although the army comprised over 800 low-level primordial life forms at the Divine Emperor Perfection level with various means, they were helpless against Luo Feng. After all, in terms of power, the terrifying body driven by the undying heart deploying the palm world already possessed formidable strength. Luo Feng further employed the secret patterns within the palm world to execute his techniques. In terms of technique realm, it surpassed the pure late-stage Divine Emperor life and death Tao, making the claw's methods seem too mysterious and elusive to these low-level primordial life forms relying solely on their bloodline. Boom! The giant claw attacked unannounced from the rear of the army, killing over 200 more members, including more than 10 leader-level beings. Boom, 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 boom. One swipe after another. Luo Feng didn't stop. With the support of the Heavenly Earth Formation and the array of elders, this army could not do anything to Luo Feng, helplessly watching as their numbers were continuously massacred with growing casualties. If this continues, the entire army might not escape. The third and fourth armies in the distance saw the scene of Luo Feng repeatedly attacking the second army through the now transparent dark green fog. This sight made them tremble in fear. If Luo Feng wipes out that army, he will surely come for us next. At his killing speed, an army won't last long. Let's flee quickly. We must escape with all our might. We can't be distracted by massacres anymore. We must focus entirely on escaping at full speed. Otherwise, the entire army will be annihilated. The third and fourth armies changed their mindset. Previously, they believed that with the army's combined power, they could still escape while distractedly massacring. Most would survive, especially the leader-level beings. So they were willing to take the risk. But now, if they don't escape, it's a certain death. The Third and Fourth Armies quickly reached a consensus within a breath's time. Flee immediately. We've killed many too. Let's escape now. If we die here, what good is bloodline evolution? Although they had massacred for too short a time to regain their freedom, some members who had slain many still hoped for bloodline evolution. But the prerequisite was to survive until the moment of receiving the gift. Push, the two armies stopped their massacre and began to flee with all their might. The surrounding cultivators, who had given in to despair, were astonished to witness this. We survived. These low-level primordial life armies stopped their massacre and fled with all their might. The cultivators realized that whatever made the low-level primordial life forms cease their massacre must be connected to the most powerful presence in Yulan City. The two armies ceased their massacre. Luo Feng observed this from afar, knowing that he made the dark green fog become illusory to scare the remaining two armies into witnessing the second army's miserable state, hoping they would flee quickly. Perhaps more low-level primordial life forms might escape the city, but at the very least, more cultivators would survive. Rumble, tilde, Luo Feng continued his frenzied onslaught on the second army, and with the third and fourth armies fleeing, he naturally focused all his power on this second army. The massive claw attacked time and again. Luo Feng, stop. If you do not stop, giving us no vitality, we would rather perish and massacre more cultivators. We will massacre without hesitation. Before our entire army is wiped out, we can at least slaughter tens of millions of cultivators. Voices came from all directions. At the same time, the second army ceased their escape, displaying a posture ready for all-out massacre. Luo Feng frowned at this sight, the massive claw he extended also retracting. To completely annihilate this army will take considerable time. They indeed could massacre over 10 million cultivators during that time. Luo Feng understood that their threat was credible. Seeing the giant claw retract, the low-level primordial life forms of the second army breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, it stopped. They had deterred this Luo Feng Divine Emperor with their mutual destruction stance. We will no longer massacre the cultivators, and you must not attack us. A leader of the second army said, the formation of Yulan City will continue to suppress you, but I can stop the secret treasure attacks, said Luo Feng. All right, we believe you. Their only choice was to believe. Fast. The second army also fled with all their might, at this moment still having over 500 Divine Emperor Perfection level beings and over 7,000 late-stage Divine Emperors already greatly weakened. At this moment, all four armies in Yulan City fled with all their might, daring not to massacre anymore. Luo Feng's avatar stood above Yulan City, keeping their eyes on the four armies. The strength of City Lord Luo Feng can suppress everything in the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm. The elders felt reassured. The cultivators of the Nine Rivers Sacred Realm were vastly inferior to those of the Dark Sacred Realm. Luo Feng's power, even at the pinnacle level in the Dark Sacred Realm, was naturally invincible here. Over 16 million cultivators died in Yulan City. As City Lord, Luo Feng instantly assessed the casualties. The early infiltration of low-level primordial life forms caused minor injuries and fatalities. The main damage came from the four armies' massacre during their escape. Even though Luo Feng fully suppressed them, there were still heavy casualties. With so many cultivators dead, do you still wish to leave alive? Luo Feng's eyes turned icy. At this moment, at the core formation layer of Yulan City, Luo Feng was meticulously engraving the second layer of the formation, nearing completion. After the city was breached, and Luo Feng broke through to the late-stage Divine Emperor Life and Death Dao, he began setting up the first layer. As the low-level primordial life armies were about to reach the core area, he finished the first layer. Then, the four armies started their retreat, slowing down due to their massacre and escape, unable to exit Yulan City. Luo Feng soon completed the second layer. Buzz. The completion of the second layer naturally combined with the first, forming a unified whole. It's done. With a single thought, Luo Feng caused the original Heaven and Earth Grand Formation of Yulan City to gradually become chaotic, the dark green fog transforming into chaos fog, enveloping and suppressing the four armies. Not good. The fleeing four armies felt the significantly increased power of the chaos fog. quickly corroding their layers of protection, with invisible assaults added. The formation's power has increased. It's much stronger. Hold steady. They defended with all their might, but the invisible assaults continuously claimed many members. Almost every breath saw dozens fall. How could the formation become so terrifying? At this moment, they couldn't even muster a mutual destruction stance. Resisting the formation already drained them. Any lapse meant instant submersion by the chaos fog. Hold on. These low-level primordial life forms' defense layers constantly showed flaws under the chaos fog's invasion and continuous deaths. Each flaw allowed the fog to penetrate deeper, killing more within the army. Quick, rush out. The first army, having fled first with all their might, neared the city walls. They made desperate efforts, sustaining casualties every moment, finally breaching Yulan City's perimeter. Upon breaching, they were overjoyed. We survived. This army was ecstatic. At this point, barely over 300 Divine Emperor Perfection level beings and over 4,000 late-stage Divine Emperors remained, nearly half surviving. Outside the city, lacking the formation's assistance, Luo Feng dared not face an entire army. We were the first to suffer from Luo Feng's onslaught, yet we survived in the end. The first army's members were dazed, seeing the other three armies still suffering casualties through the illusory chaos fog. But the other three armies still had a considerable distance to the city outskirts. They can't escape. The low-level primordial life forms quickly calculated. Let's go. There was no hesitation. The heavily damaged First Army quickly fled Yulan City. The remaining Second, Third, and Fourth Armies, however, failed to escape.